enable the sharing. What happened? Can you make me
Hold on.
co-host?
Yeah,
I don't know what happened.
please hold on.
Okay, as I was saying, it's important that, what people are able to read about you, they're able to see it very, very clearly in your CV. Okay. Okay, I think Faye Piton is here. Faye, do you want to say hello to everyone?
Hi, friends. Can you hear me? Good morning, everybody. How's
Yes, we
everyone doing?
can.
Well, good morning from here. How are you guys doing? It's early, but we're here making it happen. How's everyone doing? No comments. Okay. Jimmy, I'm packing my load. People are not
Hey, please
impressed.
don't pack your load,
Hmm.
though. Don't worry, they're here. It's because it's raining. It's raining heavily in most places right now in Nigeria. So I think that's what's making perhaps
This one that
everyone
said
feel
I'm
a little
Gucci.
more relaxed.
Is it long? I heard that. Hi, Dalakbo. How are you? My people that know me, my other people, hello everyone. How are you guys all doing? How are people feeling?
Please, I need
Has,
to I need to rejoin this meeting. I don't know what's going on.
okay, I will hold down the fort for you. How's everyone doing? I will still introduce myself, but I'm just wondering, how are you guys doing? How are you guys feeling about grad school applications? This is the season. How's everyone doing?
I'm good. Everyone is good. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, getting people are my babies all the time. So if they call me, I have to show up. Um, you feel overwhelmed, retweet. I understand. I absolutely understand you. How are other people feeling? So the thing is that when I start my session, everybody has to be engaged though, because what happens is that when I do things like this, people won't be engaged and then they'll be messaging me on LinkedIn, Faye, please remember me. I won't answer you by that time. So you better start answering me now. It's um overwhelmed. It's not easy. Yes, we're going to talk a little bit about that. And I'll share with you some strategies that are helping me. So I'll share with you guys. I've been applying for a couple of things recently, and I will tell you that it's been very, very stressful. There's something about the process, so I can understand that. Okay, Jimmy, are you back?
Yes, I am. Just give me a moment. You can continue speaking. Let me set things up on my end.
So those of you guys who are here, who has turned in at least one application? Who has turned in one application? I'm curious to know. This is October. Let me see. When I was applying to my first grad degree, I think, yeah, I don't know what day in October, but I turned in my first application in October. Okay, praise Latifa. You guys are on fire. I love that for you. Okay, so the thing I would say is that here's my strategy. I think that after the first application, there are certain things that I know you guys didn't ask me, but I'll just share from my experience. After the first application, there are certain things that you now know, and the school that you really, really want to go to, or the schools that are like your priority schools, should be your second, third, fourth application. And then whatever you do, whatever else you do after that, we shall see how it goes. And I say that because there's something called application fatigue. And typically it starts to get to people by like December, January. So make sure that if you plan to apply to grad school, you are doing what you can do between October and November because yeah, that's the season. By December, even your recommenders, nobody wants to do application, but nobody wants to fill recommendation letter by that time. So just
That's right.
FYI, I'm just dropping that there, that October and November should really be your time. January, you can still turn in some applications, but it will just be, as Jara, if you get what I'm saying. All right, Jimmy, take it away. Jimmy, how
Thank
many
you.
more minutes do you have before it's my turn?
Just a few more minutes. I should turn over to you by 2.
Okay, no worries. That's fine. I'm doing some chores, so and I need to step away, but I'll be
Not
here
a,
when
not a problem.
okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. Okay. Oh my God. Okay. So I've spoken about this part, but I want us to look at this very quickly. Just an example of what I've been trying to talk about. All right. Number one, the education section, simple and short. Okay. Very simple, short, and straightforward. So you have your university degree, and you also have the degree finished with. You have whichever certifications you have, fellowships that you've been a part of. Your fellowship could also come under work experience, but in this case, this person put it under education, right? Other certificates you've gotten that are relevant, remember the word relevant to what you're applying for. It's very important. Don't just dump things there that are irrelevant to what you're applying for. Now, there's something I always do. I always ask people, looking at this, what do you think this person might be applying for? There's so many possible answers. So let me ask you, what do you think this person might be applying for? Just looking at this CV. You can use the hand raising function. I'll call on you and you get to speak. Okay, I think people are typing in chat box. Oh, fantastic. Nice. Okay. Yes, yes, absolutely. Who said graduate assistantship position? Okay. Yes, actually, all of you are all correct right now. Women and gender studies, politics, possibly, international relations, public administration, yes, public policy, yes. You know, that is how I should feel when I pick up your CV. I want to be able to tell what you're applying for just by looking at your CV. I should not be asking you, hello, sorry, what do you want to apply for? That means you have not done a judicious job with your CV. Am I communicating with you guys? If you're applying for a university program and I have to ask you specially, oh, sorry, what are you applying for? You have not done a great job with your CV. If I cannot deduce, even if I have like 5 or 6 possible options that are all related to what you want to do, that's still good. But if you're applying for an MBA program and it's reading as though you're applying for a microbiology program, there's a problem somewhere. You know, if you're applying for a master's in, um, let's say mathematics, and it's reading as though you're applying for a master's in communication, there's a problem somewhere. I should be able to tell what you want to go for just by looking at it. And you can see this person did a great job itemizing their research work experience by research name and also including the funders of the research. And they also itemized it according to dates. Another thing this person could have done if they had enough word count is to do what? Give us a brief summary of each research or article they wrote, whatever it is, just a brief summary of maximum of 2 lines. And potentially the findings they got as a result of that research. Now, let's move along because I'll leave it for Faye to go in depth into that a little bit more when she takes over. Then showcase your key achievements for each role. Very important. A lot of times people misunderstand the meaning of this section of your CV. We're not asking you to write your job description. We don't care. We all know that a lot of times when you're working in a place or in a job, whatever it is, you do a lot more than your job description. Am I right or am I wrong? You end up doing a lot more. You fine. They employed you as an assistant, let's say an assistant marketing lead, right? That's what they employed you as. But then you are not only doing assistant marketing lead, you are also doing communications officer. You're also doing policy analyst. You're also doing business. And am I right or am I right? Especially in the Nigeria of today. That's how it is. So we want to see the things you did in that role, the achievements you got as a result of that role. So for instance, drafted 57 successful investment documents that secured a cumulative $23 million in the first half of 2024. Now that is something, or led the execution of the COVID-19 domestic resource mobilization project that secured 700 million and reduced the prevalence rate of COVID-19 to 2% in Lagos State. Now that is the kind of thing people want to read in your CV. Facilitated effective and efficient implementation of the USAID Local Organization Network Resource Mobilization Loan DRM project activity in Ogun State. Let's go to a much more interesting one. It said, built the capacity of 47 state officers on memo writing, right? Supported the State Ministry of Health in purchasing their first TrueNet machine in the state worth 18.5 million naira, equivalent to $42,000. Look, that is what? Who can tell me what that is called? Writing the amount in naira and then putting it in dollars. What do we call that? Anybody? Rome. Very good. I love that. It is called contextualization. Nobody knows what naira is. The person that is reading your CV might have never heard of naira before. So if you're applying to the United Kingdom, contextualize in pounds. If you're applying to America, contextualize in dollars. You can also maintain the same thing for Canada. You can contextualize in dollars. Very important, contextualization. Whatever you're doing, make sure you contextualize. And remember what the person wrote after here again. The person said, this machine is used to diagnose tuberculosis. It is important that you provide that context, because if you say, I supported the state in purchasing their first TrueNet machine. If I don't know what a TrueNet machine is, I'm like, what's that? I don't understand the severity of what you have done. I don't understand the importance of what you have done. So it is important that you go ahead and let them know the meaning of that thing. What does that mean? Or you can also go ahead to let them know, if you did not do this, this is what will have happened. That is contextualization. And the person went further. He said, mobilized private sector support. What? 350,000 naira, equivalent to $751. That's not much, right? Is that correct, guys? That's not a lot of money, right? That's not a lot of money. Is that correct? Yes, exactly. From Chief Pharmaceuticals to support Children's Day tuberculosis awareness. Now, let's see the kicker. Even though the money is not a lot of money, because I know that a lot of you might have never secured millions of dollars before, right? Some of you have not even secured thousands of naira before, which is fine. But it's not a matter of securing a lot of money. It is a matter of what that money is used for, the difference that money is able to make in the lives of people or in your own life, whatever it is. So this person says, resulting in 98 diagnoses within a week, with 94 of these cases placed on a 3-month treatment regimen. Now, if you had written well, I mobilized 350,000 naira from private sectors. People who read that be like, what's the big deal in that? That's not a lot of money for most people, right? But by the time you add what you use that money to do, now that makes that money feel like gold in the eyes of people reading it. So you secured that kind of money, 350,000 naira, but you use that money for 98 diagnoses within 1 week. That is fantastic. You diagnosed 98 people with tuberculosis in 1 week. And then 94 of these people have been placed on a treatment regimen. Now, that is what makes that work experience impressive, or that achievement impressive. And the person also mentioned around there, it says, garnered political commitment to ensure that the vulnerable population, tuberculosis patients, is protected by the state insurance scheme through the Federal Basic Healthcare Provision Fund worth 100 million naira yearly, and the State Equity Fund worth 20 million naira monthly. Now, that is also another achievement. So I hope that this helps you understand how to put forward your work experiences in your CV. Faye is going to go in depth when she does the live session CV reviews, obviously. So just a quick break. These are testimonials from our 2024 boot campers. This one is from a boot camper who got an opportunity to join something called the Master's Review. One thing we teach our boot campers is putting themselves out there. If you want something, you go out of your way to get it. Okay? It's not enough for you to just sit there in one corner and say, oh my God, I would have loved this opportunity. Nobody's going to do it for you. You have to get out of yourself, go out of your way, and get the opportunity you want for you. Because at the end of the day, the only person that can convince me that you're deserving of an opportunity is you. Because for me, if you're not willing to take a bet on yourself, why would you think I want to do that? Do you understand what I'm saying? So, very important. So she got invited to be a part of the literary community because she told me she wanted to join, she wanted to go for a master's in creative writing. And I told her, look, I'm not saying you can't get in, or getting in for a master's in creative writing is very competitive. And you need to really start laying the foundation. If you know that that's what you want, start joining communities, start writing, publish something on a weekly basis on LinkedIn, invite professionals in that field to review what you have written. This builds your credibility. This builds your relevance in that space. And you have a lot of things to point at as time goes on. Now, very quickly, I'm going to speak about our boot camp as well. Our Getting Boot Camp is packed, like I said. We go the extra mile with our boot campers. Our boot camp course, we always say it's social impact projects, because to be honest, we don't charge what we are supposed to charge for our bootcamp. So I'm encouraging you guys to join the bootcamp. It's a wonderful family. I know I've already started seeing members of our bootcamp here right now. I've seen quite a number of them. So and you guys, you can drop it in the chat box. Let other people know what the bootcamp has been for you and the major things you've been learning so far as a result of the bootcamp. It's a 3 month program. The first month you have your online course, and then the second month you have a lot of practical sessions, such as this session we are having. For our boot campers, some of the interesting things coming up for our PhD applicants, we're going to teach them how to build their PhD material. So I'm talking about your research proposal, your research statement, your personal statement, your CV, how it should be. We're having a special session for our PhD applicants, I believe October 12th. Yeah. So we're going to be having a special session for them just to talk about that. And not just even PhD applicants, but our Masters by Research applicants as well. We have a special session for them as well. So we try our best as much as possible to create tailored funnel for different people. And I also have an open door policy. As much as I say, don't send me your CVs, even though I don't want you to send me your materials personally. Our policy states that you share them on the platforms, but still, I still encourage people to reach out to me if they have problems. Like, don't keep quiet if you're really going through a challenge. I've had people reach out to me about, being behind, know, it's like the informations are just passing through their head and they don't know what is going on. I've had people reach out to me for things like that. And I always tell them, look, pace yourself and just go at it one day after the other. That's all you can really do. And I've also had people reach out saying that they have health issues and stuff like that. Look, we are not monsters. As much as we have a strict time frame, we are flexible in certain regards. Your health comes first, even before graduate school application and stuff like that. So, yeah, our bootcamp covers 1 month online course and then 2 months of accountability group. Our next cohort is starting October 12th. So if you know that you want to join, some of you who go ahead and send me emails and send me DMs, please, please, and please, if you know that you want to join and you want to be a part of the family, consider joining the bootcamp. It's fun and the family remains forever, literally. I can tell you that for sure. I have boot campers who did not get in their own year or their own cycle, and they applied later and sent us their CVs and their essays to review for them, and we're more than happy to do that. So so that's something worth considering. Okay. Now, these are the things that our bootcamp covers. You learn practical ways to transform previous rejections into acceptance, how to write your essays, how to optimize your CVs, how to, find your programs, your master's programs and things like that, how to find prestigious schools, scholarships, how to tailor your experiences in such a way that it's appealing to these schools. And even if you don't get into an Ivy League school, there's so many good schools out there that you might be competitive for. So, and then again, we also teach our students how to be realistically delusional. You know what I'm saying? When you are realistically delusional, you know, I'm not saying don't be delusional. Be delusional about what you want. Like, go for it without unapologetically. However, we also temper them down on how to apply reality in their delusion, which in all helps people succeed at the end of the day. Now we're going to go to a practical session, debunking application instructions or your CV instructions. I want someone to help me read these instructions, starting from the University of Ryerson academic CV instruction. Who would like to be my reader? I always like to have a reader. You can use the hand raising function. Okay. Um, Praise was the first person I saw here. So can you do the reading for us? And then maybe Oluwatomilola can explain what we have.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. So, what we have here is debug debugging CV instructions. What's expected here? University of
Mhm.
Rated Academic CV Instructions, a brief academic curriculum vitae, that's CV, 1 page maximum, with details of education, awards, teaching and research experience, and other information of academic interest. This is different from a quantitative CV.
Fantastic. So who can explain what we have here? Anybody? I'm thinking maybe Oluwatomilola wants to give it a shot. I know you raised your hand, and I know someone else did, but I didn't catch the person's name before they left. But if
All
not,
right,
any other
thank
person
you.
can. Okay.
All right, thank you very much for the opportunity. Um, it says a brief academic CV, 1 page max, with details of education and all. I think a key point here is where it says this is different from a quantitative CV, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I believe a quantitative CV is meant to highlight your quantitative skills and
Mm-hmm.
experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what this, I don't know, I may be wrong, but I think what this university is
Don't 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 start with that. Don't start it. I may be wrong. Like, be confident in your answer. Just say it. There's no wrong answer, at least, in this community. It's a safe space. So just say what you have in mind.
all right, thank you very much. So basically, I think that what this university is requesting for is all the necessary information under these specific subtopics of education awards and all the necessary
Mm-hmm.
information as relates to their university and as relates to
Mm-hmm.
the intended course of study, just like you told us before,
Mm-hmm.
highlighting their skills and
Mm-hmm.
basically experiences that are supposed to stand them out and make them viable candidates. That's just what I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let me give room for others. Okay, I can see Diamond's hand is up. Thank you so much, Oluwatomilola. Um,
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody.
Hi, good afternoon.
So I think that the first thing to note is that there are two types of CVs. There's quantitative and then qualitative CV from what is written here. So they want something that
Yes.
is very detailed, and they want the details to involve your academic education, your awards, teaching, and your research experience. So any other thing that is not these things as written, they don't want to see it, and they want it to be one
Okay.
page. That's what I understand from it.
Okay. Okay. Now let me ask another question. Um, what application do you think this kind of instruction could be tailored for? Do you think it could be for a master's or a PhD? Or let me make it easier. Do you think it could be for a regular master's, a research master's, or a PhD? Praise.
So I think, is it okay that I see what a quantitative, what I think it is, then answer this question? So I think for what this particular university needs, it's the fact that they do not want so the word quantitative, that's numbers, right? And then they
Mhm.
don't really need something that shows results, basically. So it would have to be for a master's a master's program, because for PhD you would need to write your you would need to show your research what's it called, your research experience. It has to be a little bit detailed, right? And PhD means that you probably, not all PhD programs, but you've probably gained experience when it comes to research. You also need maybe some materials that you've done and stuff like that. So I would think it would go more for an accelerated master's program. But yeah.
Okay. Does anyone have a contrary answer? Or do we agree? Okay, let me check the chat box. I think there's some. Hmm. Okay. So, okay. I think Jess Boniface, you can unmute and speak.
Yeah, I do believe it's for a PhD or a research master because it's very specific. They said in here you need to show your teaching experience and research experience.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
key. Literally everything which is mentioned in here are very
Mm-hmm.
specific.
Mm-hmm.
Education details, awards, teaching
Mm-hmm.
experience and research experience,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
other academic interests. So
Mm-hmm.
it must be a research research master's or PhD.
Fantastic. You're right. It is for a research-based master's and a PhD. It's a requirement for both. The CV. So the reason why I brought this is to help some people understand. It doesn't matter how many years of work experience you have. Sometimes schools, this is not always all that. It's not like a standing order with most schools, but I can tell you for a fact that sometimes, even when you're applying for a PhD, schools only want a one-page CV from you. And all they want to see is your education, your words, your teaching and research experience, and then other academic interests. So let's say your research interests, your areas of research interest, you can include that as well. And this is not about quantitative courses you have done. That's not what they want to see. They want to see your work experience. So pretty much just as though you're going to be writing a regular CV, is how you're going to write this. The only difference is the only thing you're going to highlight are your research experiences and your teaching experiences. So let's say you taught in a secondary school, you taught in university, maybe you're an assistant, you're a graduate assistant to a professor in your school or whatever the case is. Those are the experiences they want to see in this kind of CV. And even if you taught in an informal way, so for instance, what I'm doing right now is teaching you guys. I facilitate sessions, right? I'm literally the coach. I teach boot campers, however many they are on a yearly basis. That could also be your teaching experience because you're teaching people, you're passing on knowledge from yourself to other people. Now, your awards. Remember, your awards has to be relevant to the degree you're applying for. Your education, your background. So, do you have a bachelor's degree? Did you get an HND? Do you have a master's before your PhD application? Or do you have a master's already and you're applying for a second master's? These are things they want to see. Now, okay. I'm thinking I should show you guys what a quantitative resume could look like before I relinquish for because I'm going to have to stop sharing so that they can share our own stuff, our own presentation. But I want to show you guys
You mean share you
what.
show them later? I'm pressed for time and it's
Oh, okay,
8:13. Yes.
okay,
If it's okay for me to take over just because I have a couple of things. Is that okay?
of course it is.
All right, thanks. Hello, everyone. So let me do a proper introduction before we get into today's business. My name is Faye Biton. You can call me Faye as well, but I like to be called Faye Biton if you can pronounce it. I'm a current grad student. I'm getting my master's degree in social work at Illinois State University in the US. I'm in my third year of my master's degree. I am also a getting baby. I've just like you, one day I was also looking for opportunities to go to grad school and looking for who to teach me how to do it. And so I was a getting baby. And after being a getting baby, I became a getting staff because I just loved the work that we were doing at getting. It was very liberating for me. It was eye-opening. It helped me realize that there are so many things I could do. And all of the things and lessons and experiences I gained from getting are things that I continue to use today, even for job applications and so many other things. One of the things I also really love about the getting experience for me, the relationships and the friendships I have built. Literally, I was just texting someone who was my student last year, and she has a scholarship interview coming up for one of the top scholarships, and I'm rooting for her. And I no longer work with getting directly, but those are the kind of lasting relationships. I recently got into a fellowship program, and it was my getting student from 2 years ago who was like, Faye, I think you should apply for this, you'll be good for it. So it's just that is what getting has given me, and because it has given me so much, I continue to want to make sure that I can give the getting community even more. Some of you guys may not know, but Jimmy was also my student, and to see her in this place where she said something and I smiled because I was like, that's so me, to see all of the things that she's learning and she has learned and she continues to do. And there are not many people I trust to give me insight into things, but if I need to apply for something and I'm stuck, Jimmy is definitely one of the people that I would say, Jimmy, give me an insight into this thing because I'm stuck. So you are in good hands. All right, all of that conversation aside, look, I'm a teacher. So while I don't teach in school or in class, I love facilitating workshops. And this can only work if you guys are giving me the same energy, if you understand what I'm saying. You are welcome to turn on your cameras. I love to see faces. I'm not bothered by that. And in fact, it helps me remember people when I see your face. That aside, like I need the comment section to be like popping. In fact, I want to not be able to keep up with the comment section. Neka, did you want to say something before I go ahead?
No,
No?
I'll just give you guys a thumbs up.
Oh, thank you. Okay. So I need the comment sections to be popping and popping and popping. Every question in fact, everything I say, I want to be seeing comments. Okay. All right. So first things first, what are some of the things that concern you about writing a CV for grad school application? Let me know. You can also unmute yourself, but if you're unmuting, you want to speak, quickly so that we can go through. What are some things that concern you? Like you have written your CV. I've not seen one person's video on. Okay, now don't message me on LinkedIn, no, after this conversation. Okay, let me see. Hi, Sandra. Um, so go ahead and put it in the chat box. I want to see popping. What are some of the things that
Hello, I
concern
am Matthew. I'm just coming in. I am
Okay.
Matthew. I'm just coming in. I'm just joining. I don't know how far we've gone so with the
Thanks, Matthew, for letting us know. Yeah, you're gonna get some good out of this, so don't worry. While I'm waiting for more conversations, Shewa, can you please make me co-host so that I can share my screen? I've not seen. Hey, Jimmy, your people are. Let me carry my load and be going. Only two answers. Hey, you guys do you guys know the sacrifice I'm making to be here this morning? Even not representing all my skills and achievements in the best way. Okay, the fact that I might not have all the achievements I should have now, tailoring my experience, understanding myself, having a lot of evidences. Okay, more responses, more. Let's go, let it pop. What are some challenges you have as you're writing your CV for grad school? Not knowing what to put and how to put his retweets, more things. Lack of achievement, not having enough receipts. I just graduated, no certificate. I don't have an Omega CV, it's somewhere in my head. That's not a problem. More, what are the challenges? Or people are not having challenges. The best way to communicate the CV, not done enough in line with your course or any publication. No awards, yes. No certifications, yes. Yes to all of them. Okay, so I'm going to do some CV reviews, but before I do it, I'd like to give a little bit of a disclaimer, and this is something I like to share. So I've been doing some CV sessions like this for a while, and once upon a time, I was also in recruitment. So I used to, review CVs for a fellowship program that we were recruiting for. And in addition, of course, my work with getting. So there are a couple of things I have learned, and those are the things I will be sharing with you guys. But the disclaimer is really that there is no one perfect way that fits every single kind of situation or every single kind of job or opportunity that you are applying for. I have attended a lot of CV sessions. I have spoken to recruiters. I've done a lot of things, and people have different feelings about different things. However, there are some things that everybody agrees on, and some of it are some of the things that we teach in the bootcamp. For example, clarity, conciseness, even how it looks, a good template. So you want your reader to feel something. You want them to be impressed, and you want them to feel excited, and you want them to easily understand what you have done. So, based on these things that I have just said, while there's no like, because I might say something today and you're like, oh, Buffy, yeah, I've heard someone say before that we shouldn't do that, or and so on and so forth. But based on these things that I have said, just know that there's sometimes some disparities, and that's okay, right? So, I'm going to be reviewing some CVs that Jimmy sent to me, and I'm going to try to go really, really fast because I want to be out of here in less than 1 hour. So let's go. This first one is Latifa Ademola. Latifa, are you here? Because if this is not is this being recorded? I don't know. Yes. Latifa, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. So let's quickly look at your CV. So the first thing I will say is that this CV can be 2 pages. Now, it's possible that it's because it was copied and pasted into Google Doc. That's why it's 3 pages. I don't know, but it can be 2 pages. So that's the first thing. One thing I like to tell people is there's no need for leaving like your CV hanging like this with all of this space when it can be 2 concise pages. Again, it's just a visual thing, just to make it easier for your reader to look at. Okay. So I would just suggest adjusting your template to reflect that. Now, another thing too, I like to tell people is managing space and managing time. As you've put this phone here, you've put this email, there's nobody that will see this number and will not know that it's a phone number, or will see this email and will not know that it's an email address. There's no need to put email and phone. Just in one single line, just put what you need to put, okay? Now, research interest. I don't know why my screen has been doing this, but I left some comments. What about, okay. So my first impression looking at this was, okay, this is very, very technical. I'm not in chemistry or biology or anything. So there are many things that I could not really fully understand, but I'm assuming that in your field, people will understand. But there's some things that you did well that I think are good for your research interest, especially if it's something, I don't know if this is very specific to your field or something like that. See, if it's very, very specific to your field, you can leave it there. But if it's nothing specific and this is generic, honestly, you can take it off to make space for other experiences. But at the same time, some people might value having research interest. Again, I don't know. To me, I would only put it if it's very specific, okay? Then looking at your education, where you have your school, your this, I think that this is well written, and so on. There's Grammarly is bringing out a lot of like, for example, see how you have spelled Southwestern here. So these are just some things. Please use Grammarly to correct this, because if you look at your CV, there's a lot of red lines. Moving ahead, this is also fine. So one thing I will say is, from my experience again working and getting, is that if in your field this is something that someone will easily understand, honestly, you can take off this part. Again, these are just little ways to save space and to make your CV easier to read. So for example, when you say explore potential molecular effects, if what you have said here is saying the same thing as what you have said here, there, or what your title is, like your title gives out the information, there's no need to repeat it. Journal publications, nothing special here. research experience. So again, like I said, you have a lot of spelling errors. Look at this institute. You want to check stuff like that. So for this one, I think you have some good bullet points. Again, like I said, I'm not in this field. So what I can just see is that you have certain things where you have used certain keywords and, all of these things. So I think it's fine. If there are numbers that you can put, you can definitely include them. If not, there are some things that you can take off. So, for example, if you're doing certain research and you have preparing reaction buffers, is that something that is expected in the role or is expected of you to do? If it's something that typically will be expected, honestly, you can take it off. So when you say managing the affairs, what does that mean? Like, this is vague. We don't really know what it is. So you started well by highlighting some things here, but there are just certain things that we don't know what it is. Managing the affairs. What affairs are you managing? Pick one or pick two things that you were in charge of or responsible for. Responsible for 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can use that. Okay.
Yeah, at this particular point, I would like to ask a question if I'm being permitted. I don't know.
Matthew, if it's okay, can you please hold on? You can use the comment or the chat box to ask questions, just so that I can go quickly. Okay. I have a couple of people I need to review for, if that's okay. Thank you. Okay. So going on is the same thing, and also sometimes instead of 7 bullet points, 4 or 5 key ones are enough. And so Latifa, same thing, you have some bullet points that are not so strong, like tutored year 12 students in chemistry and biology. How many did you get to tutoring? You want to include that. Yeah, so that's how I feel about your CV. I think it's good. Personally, I don't know if it's the font. What font is this? Calibri. I don't really like this font particularly, but your CV is okay. There are just certain things that can make it easier, like all of these small things, all these little errors that you need to change to make it nicer to look at and easier. What did I write here? Yeah, I said lots of good accomplishments, but CV template is just a bit hard to follow. Okay. All right. Moving on to the next person. But before I do, let me see what's in the chat. Will I have to upload all certificates with my achievements? Not all. I mean, usually your degree, yes, you will, but they may not necessarily ask you for evidence of the rest. They may not. So recommended font type. Personally, I just like Times New Roman. That's just me though. I'm a visual person and I like things to look nice and pretty. So that's just me. And I usually use font size 11 or 12. I will show you guys a copy of my CV when I'm done so you can see. Okay, moving on. Is Elizabeth here? No? Okay, moving on to the next person. Is Imabong here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, good. Hi, Imabong. So first things first, I don't know why you didn't send your CV in Google Doc. Oh, that's number one. You did not follow the instructions, but I'm reviewing your CV because I liked it. So that's why I'm going to review it. But next time when they say Google Docs is good so that people can leave comments. I've had in the past when people send me documents, I offer you please review for me, and I don't, because I'm like, you need to have it in Google Docs so I can leave comments easily. So just FYI. So Imabong, just looking off this, I think for the first thing, I really like the template. I feel like your font size might be small. I don't know if this is 10 or so, but it might be a little bit hard to read, so you might want to increase it to 11. And I will tell you how you can do some things to change your CV. There's some things you can do better. But looking at it, because of the way your template is written and the vibe and everything, I immediately felt like, oh, okay, I like this person has a lot of experience. So it's the same thing I told Latifa, for example, like there's no, just, you can hyperlink your LinkedIn and I'll show you how to do that. And the way you have, and when you hyperlink it, it can also be on this line. That way everything is in one seamless space. So professional summary, I like the fact that you have over 5 years of diverse experience. You talked about that, the fact that you are head of litigation. My passion, the only thing is that usually people don't use personal pronouns in professional summary. This is not in a CV. It's not terrible, but I think that you might consider rewriting this and just, give something else like experience with or expertise in blah, 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 blah. Like this one, my passion for litigation, as you can take that out. That's not really like you can write that in your SOP. Okay. Moving on to your education, again, I really like the fact that everything is clear. I can see that you went to law school. I love the fact that you italicized this. It makes it easy to read. Completed modules, again, easy to read. Research topics, simple, easy to read. I really like this. If you had a good GPA, that's first class, or even when converted, let's say it's like a 3.5, I think you can include it as well, just to show that. But if your GPA was really bad, there's no need. But if not, you can include it. I love the fact that you have your award. So this is for everyone who might feel like, oh, I don't really have a lot of awards, because I will not lie to you. I'm a very impressive person, if I do say so, with my own work, but I also don't have a lot of awards. So it's okay not to have a whole award section and just have it, under your undergrad. So I really like that. Now, with your work experience, here's where I have a challenge. So I'm fine with this one, right? This one, I see numbers, I see details and information, but honestly, Imabong, there's no need for you to look at this. 3 whole letter. Some of these things you write it in your SOP. So keep it simple. 2 lines for your sentence is enough. You don't need 4, 3, like it's too much. So I would suggest for this particular role, even though this was your longest role, so I understand feeling like you want to write a lot. So maybe you can make this one 4 bullet points and you can make the rest 3 bullet points each, because you have a lot of experience. That's the truth. You have a lot of experience. So, and another thing too is there's somebody else's CV that they did that thing. There are certain things that you did as a lawyer in this organization that you did as a lawyer here. There's a way to like intelligently play around with it, right? So if, for example, as a lawyer here, I had clients that I was servicing weekly, and it's the same thing I did here, I can just use that bullet point for one of the experiences instead of the two. So you need to like shorten all of these, just make it easier to understand. Take the ones that are most, um yeah, there are just some things here that you can put into your SOP. So that's what I will say. Now, another thing too is if, for example, the description of the organization is not impressive, you can take it off. Like this one says, a full service law firm with expertise in dispute resolution and commercial law. I feel like you should only leave that on if, for example, what you are applying for, this kind of description will benefit from it. If not, there's no need for that. Okay. So this is fine to your professional certifications. I don't know if there's a way you can shorten this too, because the way well, I don't know. I don't know if there's a way you could rewrite this so that they are both on a single line, again, to save space. Leadership and volunteering opportunities. Now, Imabong, I love this for you. I love where all of this is going. The only thing I will say is this is 2024. The last time you volunteered was in 2018. So don't go and write in your SOP. I'm very much passionate about volunteering and giving back, because we don't see that here. 2018, that's at least what, 6 years. So these are some of the subtle things that people can, because if I saw it too, and let's say you wrote, I'm very passionate, especially if you have an essay that asks, how do you give back to the community? You might want to be mindful of something like this. Okay. But other than that, I really like your CV. Like I said, the templates I can read it, but it might be a bit small. But I think that if you cut down on all of these bullet points, like there's no need for having like these bullet points that are long like this. It's just too much.
Okay.
Just find a way to cut down. You can use a tool like Quillbot, and it will help you figure out how to cut it down. Okay. Any questions, Imabong, do you have?
Yeah, so just a question. So because my volunteering experience is let's say I've not done volunteering for a long time. Do you think I should take it off? I should just still leave it.
No, you can leave it, but there's time to volunteer before you even turn in your application.
Okay.
Even if it's something at church. Now, it might not. So sometimes I think, again, like I said, it's an intelligent kind of situation because even I am still figuring it out, right? Now, sometimes people will say if it doesn't relate at all to your work, take it out. But I don't think that that's right. Do you know why I say so? All of us are. We're all complex human beings. We do things that are not related to our CV. Now, your professional experience should be tailored to your work experience, especially for you. You already have so much experience. There's no point writing that you were also selling food or you were also a caterer or you were also a fashion designer because you already have enough relevant experience. But for your volunteering thing, honestly, even if you're not volunteering in something in law, you're volunteering as procurement officer for your church, you can include it because that shows that you do something else outside of law, if you get what I'm saying. So something to consider. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. But other than that, I really like your CV. Let me give me a sec. I just want to send you. Okay. So I see some questions. How do we always have to include a research interest in our CV? No, I don't think so. But the thing is, again, you want to make it easy for your reader, especially if you're applying for a PhD. You want to make it easy for the person to find out what you are passionate about. So having a research interest can be good. For me, I never had research interest in my applications because I was not applying for a research-based master's. I'm still doing research work, but my research interest when I was applying for grad school is so different from my research interest now. So if you're applying for the same master's program in different schools, can you use the same CV? Yeah, you can use the same CV. You don't necessarily need to always tailor your CV to a school unless the programs are fundamentally different. So I'll explain to you what I mean. If there's a program you're applying for social work, for example, you can be applying for social work in 5 schools, but let's say in one school you're applying for child and family practice, in another school you're applying for mental health social work. You can switch out your experiences depending on what you have. If I only have one experience, there's nothing to switch out. But if I have multiple experiences, you can switch out the bullet points to reflect, what is most relevant for each department or each program. I hope that helps. Alrighty. Moving on to the next person. Tolulokwe, are you here? Tolulokwe, here? No? Okay, moving on. Those are the CVs I had. These two people are not here. So I don't think that this is still being recorded, so I don't see the point. But since you guys are here, I will just say a couple of things for Tolulokwe's point.
I am here, please.
Oh, okay. Hi, Tolulokwe. How are you doing?
I'm fine.
Okay, cool. So let me just quickly review a couple of things. So again, just like Imabong, when I was looking at your CV, I was like, okay, this person has a lot of experience, but I don't really like the way your CV is looking. I don't know if it's the spacing. I don't know if it's the template. I think that it can be better. So I will share with you some things I think you can do. So Tolu, I don't know if you worked on this CV yet, based on, I don't know, but I will just share with you. The first thing is you don't need 2 email addresses unless there's a reason why you're not checking your Gmail. You don't need to put just one, okay? Put one email address that's functional and that's fine. The next thing I have is for example, there's no need for this, like they are not going to send anything to you in Department of Chemical Pathology, so you can take that out. It's also not necessary. I will show you guys how to hyperlink your LinkedIn because that makes this part so much shorter, and that will make all of this part shorter for you. Okay. Now, another thing is this objective. So if you were here when Jimmy was talking about the objective of the summary, everyone is self-determined and everyone is a hard worker. There's no need for you to put self-determination and hard work. If you don't have anything that really distinguishes you for your objective or for your summary, or if you do but you don't know how to write it, you can take it out. It's not compulsory to have an objective at all. Okay, so for example, this is what I said. We write instead to show skills, 5 years of experience in, research expertise in, and so on. Tolu, is that okay? Are you? Okay, so same thing for your, what did I write? Okay, I said just consider a different template because so that it's easy to read all of this. I don't know why this is in bullet point and then Master of Science is here. Like everything is it's not, you see what I'm saying? Like it's hard to read this part. So this should not be in bullet points. Your school should be the main title, then all this can be in bullet points. And honestly, they don't even need to be in bullet points. Your templates, you just need to change your template. That's the cool. Yeah, so I said rewrite for clarity, so it's easy to look at. Okay, now moving on to research experiences. I was reading this through your bullet points and I was just wondering, what I said is, are these actually research experiences? Because it looks more like work to me. So when you say performs DNA, conducts daily routine, again, I'm not in this field though, so I might be wrong, but part of I like to tell people that when you're writing your document or you're preparing your document for grad school, you want it to be understandable to someone who is not in your field, and you want it to also be understandable to someone who is in your field. So if someone who is not in your field cannot understand your resume or cannot understand your SOP at all, then it means that you have not done a great job breaking it down. Now, there are certain things you will not explain. For example, you're not going to be explaining what RNSA is because, I'm assuming that it's a normal word in your field, but I don't know if these are your actual research experiences or this is your work, because it seems like work to me, but if this is how it is in your field, then, that's fine. But I was just looking through it like, okay, is this actual research? Develop and review standard operating procedure. Again, is that research? Ensures cold chain storage temperatures are monitored daily. Like, I don't know, maybe it's the way you're writing it that makes it feel like it's not research and instead it's work. So that's something to consider. Then here I see that you have duties. Again, save bullet points, save space. You don't need to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bullet points for each one. 3, 4 solid bullet points will do you good than having, especially because if, for example, the program says submit a one-page CV. How are you going to do it? So you need to practice actually having just 3 strong bullet points. Now, look at this. These 2 bullet points, right, is basically the same thing that you're saying here. It's almost the same thing. So that's part of what I was saying, that there's a way to finesse this thing. If there's something special that you have done that cuts across all your experiences, there's no need to mention it in all your experiences. You can just include it in one, especially because, for example, you worked here since July of 2021 till now. So that's 3 years of experience. Anybody who is reviewing this knows that 3 years is enough for you to actually learn how to do this. So there might be no need to repeat it here. You might instead focus on the ones that are very different from, this experience. I hope you guys are getting me. I don't know. Am I talking too fast? Let me know in the chat box. Am I making sense? Am I making sense? Is this going well? Are you guys getting something? Okay, cool. I hope I'm not going too fast. Yeah, so same thing with this. There are some bullet points that honestly you can take out because your CV should have achievements, not just tasks. Separated plasma from whole blood into tubes for viral load assay. Again, this is not a really very strong bullet point, and especially if this is what is expected of you in this type of role, you might want to take all of this, rewrite it. Same thing with how you have done this here, right? Institute of Human Biology, like, see, everything is just jam-packed together. So if you have the name of the place, you say, and now you say duties, like what was your role here? So these are small things that make your CV easy to read, and you want to consider that. And it's just the same thing, so on and so forth. And then you have related professional experience. See, this is not aligned, like related professional experiences. This should be at the corner here, and even this, So Tolu, you have to really work on your template and on your CV.
Okay.
It's not giving what it should give, and it can make someone get turned off from looking at your CV. all of this.
Okay.
I can also tell that you're very experienced. But when you're doing something like this for grad school, and some of these things like you need to use Grammarly, you don't have a lot of look at just small silly things that like look at this. You want to address those kind of things. Look at this, like March 2012, why is there a comma here? Like these are just small things. All of these things, this should be like this so that it's easy to read and stuff like that. So just like Imabong, I can tell you also have a lot of experience, but if you have a lot of experience and you're not presenting it well, you might not get chosen because of things like that. So that's my general comment. And in addition, 2 pages is enough, even though I know you have a lot of experience, so it's hard to squeeze it into 2 pages. But I think that if you work with a better template, you can
Okay.
make it 2 pages. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you so
I
much.
hope that was helpful. Do you have any questions?
No, no, no. I'll work on the CV. Thank you so much.
All right, good. So I'm gonna just go ahead and show my 2 of my CVs and show you guys. I've updated this, but I'm just going to use this as an example for you guys to see what some of the things I have said. Okay, so the first thing is about the LinkedIn thing, right? So the first thing I said is about the LinkedIn. So I think it's Imabong and Tolu and some other people. That your LinkedIn URL, right? You can hyperlink it into your document. So here's how you do it. So if you copy the word, so if you type just LinkedIn, so for example, here, I've typed just LinkedIn. If you copy, not copy, if you, yes, highlight the word and you go to insert link and you control paste it, it's going to be hyperlinked. Do you understand that? Does anybody have a question with what I just did? Questions or okay, I'm going to show it one more time. So you are going to copy your LinkedIn URL. So go to your LinkedIn page, copy your LinkedIn URL, highlight the word, right? You can either right click on the highlighted word and click insert link. Look at it, it says insert link. Or if you're using Google Doc, for example, there's something here that says insert link. And you can go ahead and Control V and you apply, and immediately that gives you the URL. Okay, so that's how you do that. And just like I said, you are able to just put everything on a straight line. So look at mine, Lagos, Nigeria, your phone number, your email address, your LinkedIn, simple, space is saved. Okay. Moving on, we have your education part. So again, now, to be honest, though, this my CV is actually for it's for work right now. So I haven't really included like my extracurricular. And honestly, I'm not even going to include it because I have a lot of other experiences that I'll prefer to showcase. And that's just me. Now, if you're a fresh undergrad, let's say you just graduated last year, or you just graduated 2 years ago or 3 years ago, you might need to put things under your education for it to be relevant to you. For me, I'm not putting it because I've graduated a few years and I have a master's now. I feel like seeing that I have a master's, that should be enough to tell you that I've done something, right? But let's say you don't have a lot of experience, that's when you can go ahead to make those bullet points. And usually stuff like completed modules, your awards and your recognitions or your extracurricular is sufficient. Again, make it easy to read. This is the name of my school. This is my degree. This is my GPA. This is when I graduated. Simple. Now, moving on to your professional experience, it's the same thing. You know, you have the name of your organization, you have your role, and you have a brief description. Honestly, try to make your description 1 line. And if it's 2 line, like this one, let it be because it's really related and it's something special. And then you make your bullet points and so on. So this is how mine is looking. I've updated this resume, but this is just an example of what it looks like. Now, personally, I don't like things like this for it to be hanging. I feel like all of this should be together. So depending on how it is, I might, move things around again or change my template or change the font so that this part of Noble Stack can come under this, and it's easy for the person to read, okay? But don't waste space. So you have to figure out a way to do it. So same thing here. So now another thing that you can hyperlink. So the truth is that I don't know if admissions committee look at this, but personally, when I was doing recruitment, if somebody hyperlinks something in their CV, I always look at it personally. I don't know if recruitment people who do graduate school applications actually review it. But for example, I have this, right? Engaged in curriculum development. It's a YouTube video. So those of you guys who have done some things online and you're trying to show evidence for it, you can. So let's say you have a non-profit organization and it has been featured in the news, or somebody has written an article about it, you can also hyperlink it. And so things like that. Let's say it's been featured in the newspaper, you did an interview about it on YouTube, and any of those kind of things, you can also hyperlink it, and you can have a section for your skills. Now, again, all of this, you have to consider saving space. You might do this, you might not do this. I personally, I do this because, for example, if the program says that they are going to take people for graduate assistantships, and you have certain skills. Now look at my skills very well. You're not seeing me write communication, teamwork. Everybody has communication and teamwork. So if your skills are not specialized or special, honestly, there's no need to include it. And there's a way you can use your bullet points to show communication and skills. And let's even say that you don't even have space to include a skill session. Honestly, there's a way you can use your bullet points. Let me show you what I mean. So let me look at my getting experience. So for example, look at this, managed and directed the execution of community events, surpassing attendance targets through strategic, blah, 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 using tools like, so if you're in data analytics, for example, you can say employing tools of SQL or used tools like SQL, Python, Java, etc. to do ABC, XYZ. So it will still be reflected in your bullet points, and you might not necessarily have to have a skill section. And I'm saying this for someone who might not have space. If you have the space, you can have a section for it. And then you're volunteering. Just like I was telling Imabong, I personally always include volunteering because I think that it's good for people to see that you do things outside of your regular things, and it doesn't even have to be related. However, let's say I was pressed for space, I might not include all of them. I even have more than this. I might just include 2 or 3 or 4, depending on, the spacing I have. Now, this is a 2-pager, but let's say I'm required to submit a 1-pager, because sometimes they actually require you to submit a 1-pager. It's the same thing. So I have my name, I have my, contact information in one line. Is a succinct. You can save space. You don't need to have 3-4 lines. Name, space, kiniko, kiniko. They already know what those things are. Then for summary, I have a summary. I'm a Master of Social Work student. I'm transitioning after 4 years. I have experience in this, and this, right? And then after I gave a summary of this is who I am, I then went ahead to actually include some metrics. Now look at this carefully. That's what I'm saying about your summary. Don't just write things that anybody can tell. Give metrics. Virtually coordinated and manage the digital skills of over 100 youth, targeted, blah, 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 blah. Transfer these competencies to provide education services for. So even if somebody does not look at the rest of this thing, they have information just from my summary. And then for my education, again, I kept it short, not a lot of things. Now, it will vary from person to person. Some people need to put information here. There are some programs that actually need you to highlight the courses you took, things like that. But let me tell you something. Let's imagine that in your application, right? When you're filling your application, there's actually a space where they ask you to, for example, tell us the courses that you took. There's no need to still come to your SOP, to your CV and start including all the courses. You can save space and actually put other experiences. And then, I just have my professional experiences and that's it. So this is, my own CV. This is a way to make it concise. One thing I would say is Nobody gets this. Is not even like, as I'm looking at this CV now, I'm like, no, I'm not, I'm going to change some things. Nobody gets to that point where they're like, yes, my CV is absolutely perfect, 100%, nothing can be changed. A CV is a working document. It's a document that you would always have to change, always have to improve upon. Like I said, even this CV, I literally created this CV this year. This one I just showed you guys, and I'm looking at it like, oh yeah, I already have a CV I'm working on. Let me see if I can find the CV I'm working on. So I'm going to stop sharing for a bit and just have conversations with people before I show my CV. Let me look at the comment. What are the questions? All the people that were showing their video, they've run away. SMH. Okay, what if the educational background and previous awards do not line up with the current field of study you want to go for? For example, I studied microbiology and I'm currently in the field of cybersecurity and I have 2 years of working experience in the field. How do I better tailor my academic CV? Good question, Tolu. So at the end of the day, one thing I would say is you have to use, for you to lose specifically, you have to use your SOP to tell us why you were in microbiology, you are suddenly in cybersecurity, and now you desire to go back to microbiology. You might not be able to fully explain all those things in your CV. So your SOP is a space for that. There are some schools that also ask you to do something called a supplemental document. So let's say you have an SOP, but the SOP is only 250 words. You might not have enough space to go into all those, like Nigerians will say, shalaye. So alternatively, you can actually create an alternative document and be like, this is my supplemental document. Will they read it? We don't know. Some schools tell you that you can submit it. Some schools don't say that. But when you're looking at the application, there's usually a space for, is there anything else you want to tell us? Do you want to submit something supplemental? So just keep that in mind. Now, another way that you can do it is that there are certain relevant skills and there are certain transferable skills that you have from your cybersecurity that you can transfer into your, that can be transferable to your microbiology. In your cybersecurity bullet point, you want to highlight all of those things. Another thing that you can do to look specifically is that you can place more emphasis on your volunteering, your publications, your research work, your other things that you were doing outside of your regular 9 to 5 cybersecurity role that relates to microbiology or that can be transferable. So for example, professional development, things you were involved in, certifications, and so on and so forth. Assuming it were for grad school, is adding relevant coursework necessary? I think it depends on many things. So let me explain mine to you. So for example, I'm applying for another degree. And while there are ways that I can connect social work to the degree I'm applying for, my coursework doesn't really relate, right? If I write that, oh, I did coursework in child and family services, and I'm applying for chemistry, for example, it doesn't really relate. So there's no need to add that relevant coursework. The only time I think and if it's, let's say, only 1 or 2 courses that you took that relates, honestly, you can use the space for other things, especially if you have other experiences that are more in line or more transferable. That's what I would think. But if you want to include it just because everybody else is, you can too, because sometimes people have that, no, I have to include it. But if it's not relevant, so I'm going from microbiology to data analytics, and there's nothing that is relevant, there's no point. I'm going from social work to data analytics, nothing relevant, no point. Cynthia says, should it be done in Word document? You can use whatever you want for your CV, but when you're done, save it as a PDF, just like Adeshewa has said. Even when you're uploading, I think that PDF is advisable, and that's because sometimes Word or Google Doc, the formatting might change depending on how the person opens it, and that can really mess you up. So saving it as a PDF is better because you can then, no matter what device they open it on, it will still be the same document. Where can one get free CV templates? So I will show you two places that you can get some templates, even though this particular template I use is from a different thing, and I can't share that, but yeah. Can we hyperlink our professional certification sections to save space? Again, you can, but Imagine a CV that has 20 hyperlinks. There's no point for that. Hyperlink only the things that you feel that you want them to have, to be excited about. For example, as I said, if you've done work that was featured in a newspaper, if you've done something that you have a YouTube page for, if you've done something that you did an interview for, those things are the things that are relevant. Don't go hyperlinking every single thing, because then you're going to make the person look at one or two and forget about the rest. So is having a volunteer experience really important? I would say yes. It adds flavor to who you are as a person, and it makes your the person who is reading your thing be like, oh, okay, this is what they do outside of, grad school, outside of their services, especially if the volunteer experience is related, or if it's something that the school has something similar. So for example, let's say I volunteer at Mani. Some of you may know Mani, Mentally Aware Nigeria Initiative, and the school actually has let's say a peer counseling service, and they usually take on volunteers. Putting in your CV that you worked with Mani is a good thing, because it can show that you can even write it in your SOP that after your work with Mani, you are also interested in doing this same transferable thing when you get to UPenn, for example. I don't know if UPenn has it, or I'm using that as an example. And so on. Is it okay to put in languages? If your first language, again, Yoruba and English, there's no need now. They expect that as you are applying, you have English. There's no need. And I'm sure you're going to be submitting other documents that show that you were taught in English. So I beg, remove that one. So, Oye, since you have 2 pages for your CV, you don't need to add volunteering experience. Like, you can even just mention it in your SOP that outside of all of these things, I'm also really passionate. Now, sometimes people say that if you say something in your SOP, it must show in your CV. And that may be true, but you know what I have come to realize? There's no way you can show everything in your CV. Now, when I didn't have experience, when I was applying to grad school 3 years ago, I felt like, oh, I have to put everything. But now that I have more experience, there are so many things that, in fact, I've dropped. There are some things I don't even remember again that I did, that I've even discarded. And that's because they don't expect that everything that's on your CV will be on your SOP. Everything that's on your SOP will be on your CV. However, the one document strategy says that if I look at your CV, I should be able to tell that this person has a background in pharmacy. If I read your SOP, I should be able to tell that this person has a background in pharmacy. If I read your reference letters, I should be able to tell the same thing. So that's one document strategy. But one document strategy does not mean that everything that you have in your SOP will be in your CV. Everything that you have in your CV will be in your SOP. A smart way to also do it is that you can also hyperlink in your SOP, especially if, let's say, the work has been publicized before. If it hasn't, just mention it. Outside of my day-to-day work, I enjoy volunteering because it does this for me. I am looking forward to bringing in this volunteering spirit to UPenn to do ABC XYZ. Simple. You don't need to go and have one whole 50-page section in your CV. Can you give examples of how one can change simple expected job descriptions to accomplishment? I will show you some resources for that. You were best graduating students in the master's class. And you can put that under your education section. So under your master's bullet point, you can just, under your master's subtopic, you can put a bullet point, top two awarded as best graduating student or something like that, or recognized as best, you can say recognized as best graduating student, or you can say graduated in top 2% of your class, something like that. Lastly, what are major sections to include in my CV for a PhD research program? That one is long. What if you didn't have a GPA like in med school? How do you highlight your good grades? I'm sure you have a transcript. So when you submit your transcript, they will see your grades. You don't need to include it in your CV. When you say awards, is there a limit to the number of academic awards you can include? For example, if you got 3 or 4 awards for the same achievement, what does that mean? 3 or 4 awards for the same achievement, like best graduating students, you have 3 awards. I'm not sure I understand what that means. You already hyperlinked the LinkedIn on your bio. Yes, Miss Jennifer, I was showing people how it is done. That's why I hyperlinked it, so you guys can see. If you've been promoted a number of times in your organization, is it necessary to highlight that? Should you also highlight experiences in each level? What if those experiences are similar? Yeah, if those experiences are similar, you can leave it out. But let's say you started as intern and now you are senior analyst. I think that there's a place to include that. So you can include it as the name of the organization, you talk about the first row, you talk about the bullet point, you go again, the other experience and what you did, and you can reduce it. You don't need to include everything. So for example, intern can have 2 bullet points, senior analyst can have 4, to make it simple. But I think it's impressive to show that someone started as an intern and then they became senior analyst. But it's not like, let's say I was customer service, then customer service admin, then customer service support. Like, it's kind of all the same. So you might not necessarily need to do that. I don't know why who is going to read your 5-page resume? Nobody is going to read that resume. Even a 2-page resume, I promise you, is a scam. Nobody stays time and it's like 1, 2, 3. When they have 50 applications to look at, it's not possible. What do you do when applying for grad school and the limit is 250 to 300 statements? This one is essay word. Jamie will answer that one. Okay. It means that maybe 3 or 4 sponsors awarded you prizes or awards for being the best student in one single story. So you can just say, Bukola, you can say received 4 awards, or you can say recognized as recipient of 4 awards for, just highlight it, keep it simple. If you have one single publication, would it be beneficial to add your key results? If you like, you can do that, or you can keep that conversation to your SOP. Who is iPhone 2? iPhone 2 has had their hand raised up for forever. Can you speak? Let me talk to you. How may I help you? iPhone 2. Is iPhone 2 there, or the person does not remember that their hand is up? I'm going to have to drop off soon, guys.
Hello.
So final
Hello, sorry. Yes,
question.
I was trying to unmute.
No worries. Go ahead.
Yes, I've listened carefully to everything that you have said. I just had something to ask, which is, in a case where the school just ask like direct questions in form of an essay. I think you said leave it to GB, but I don't know. I still want to ask about 800 words. That's one. And two, in a situation where I have a background in litigation, however, what I'm applying for is in a different field, and then I want to go for like a general master's, does it matter? Should I just list all the experiences that I had? I mean, in tandem with everything that you've said today, I took notes, but I'm just saying, I don't really have significant experience in tech, but I have a lot of experience in litigation, like solid and good experiences in that. And that's like the only thing I'm relying on. So I don't know how.
What's your name?
My name is Chichi.
Chichi. Okay, you sound like someone I know, so that's why I'm asking. Okay, so Chichi, I will tell you that even for me, my educational background is not the same with where I'm trying to go in my life, and it's normal. But here are some things I like to tell people to think about. You want to remove ambiguity. In fact, I had a conversation yesterday with someone for a program I'm applying for, and this was what the person told me. You want to remove ambiguity and confusion from your document or from your essay. If I read your CV and I read your SOP, can I leave with the impression that Chi is in litigation and now she wants to switch over to this? And these are the experiences that Chi is bringing. If I can live with that, it is fine. But here, this is what I wanted to, and this is what I used to tell my getting students. You need to create what is known as a bridge. Help your reader understand why you're going from point A to point B by creating a bridge. What are the blocks that make this bridge up? An explanation of why your interest is changing is number 1. Number 2, transferable skills. What are the skills you're bringing from litigation to this place? What are the experiences you're bringing from litigation to this place? Number 3, what are problems that you have highlighted in this new field that your litigation background will be able to solve? Those are the blocks that make the bridge. And when you are done constructing that bridge, your reader will be able to understand where you are coming from. So I'll give you an example. I'm currently getting my master's degree in social work. However, my experience has been in social impact and education. And even a lot of the opportunities and a lot of the work I'm applying for, it's in social impact, is in education, like program management, program design. And I don't know if you guys saw that from my CV, but that's the kind of work that I have done. Now, if somebody asks me, why are you moving from social work to learning technology, for example, or learning design? Some of the things I would say is, okay, I've been doing social impact and education. However, I have realized that psycho attention to psychosocial issues or psychosocial problems is not sufficient to actually provide the skill sets that students need to be able to scale up. And so I am looking to build my technology skills so that I can provide them with both the people aspect of things as well as this. Now, my selling point is that I can bring a lens of social impact into any program, into any organization, because I have these experiences. So I hope you get what I'm saying. Some
Yes, we do.
transferable skills I'll be able to bring, for example, is my program management skills. No matter what we're doing, everybody needs program management skills. Some other kind of things I'll be able to bring is facilitation. This is the experience I have. I have a lot of experience in facilitating Zoom sessions, having conversations like this. And no matter what the project is, you will need to facilitate so that your audience can buy into it. So those are the things you want to bring. And like I said, when you're building that block, number 4 on that block is, what is your unique advantage? Now, you may not necessarily write my unique advantage is, but you can say that, bless you, where are you trekking to? But you can say that, you know, I am bringing to this experience, or I am bringing to this program all my experiences in this, or I am fit for this program, or this program is, I am right for this program because of this background that I have. So basically, give a statement that tells us your unique advantage. Do you get me?
Okay. Yes, I do. Thank you very much.
All right, I would really, really like to drop off soon. So I'm sorry, guys. Myself, I have my own aspire to perspire problems. So I'm just going to show one of my updated CVs. This CV, I'm still working on it because I don't really like where it is yet. But hey, let me hide my email before some people start emailing me. But this is like my experience. And like I said, it's not everything. Like you can say I have only one hyperlink here. And then I have another hyperlink. Okay, I have one here, and then I have one here. And make sure you even check those hyperlinks, because some of them might not be working. Like this one, I'm not even sure if it's working. And then you can say I have my volunteering. So I do Agila Young Women's Development, I do Panny World Foundation. But if you look at it closely, these two experiences, they are related. So this one is related, and this one is also related. And then my awards and fellowships. Now, I might change this. I don't know if I'm going to change it yet, but this is where I'm at right now. I might change it, I might not change it, but these are just some small things that you want to. And I just even included these two. I don't know, but like I said, I don't have a lot of awards either. So you can even lump it together, awards and fellowships, and just put it together. So yeah. Okay. Where to find some good templates? There are a couple of places. Number one, I like to use is cultivated culture, even though I wouldn't really use cultivated cultures templates again, because their templates has a lot of color things, and honestly, that's very, very distracting. However, they have a lot of tools that might be useful for you. So somebody was saying something about how to do bullet points, for example. So uh what is this? Something is disturbing my screen. Thanks. My screen is frozen. Why is this? What is this? Okay. Just going to, yeah, as I was going. So if you go to resume, cultivated culture, for example, they have some articles about how to, change your bullet point and make it pop with action words. And they have some examples and things like that. So you can look at this, okay? The other thing too is resume worded. I think resume worded might have some better resume templates. So Yeah, I think they have some. Yeah, resume worded. So this is resume worded, which is the template I'm using. I got it from resume worded. So this is an example. Now, bear in mind that I still suggest, bear in mind that these are all job related things. This is not an academic CV. So if you're going to use it, it's up to you to know how to change things and switch things around. So for example, if you look at this template, um, if you look at this template, for example, right, they have education at the bottom. Now, if you're writing an academic CV, this is not relevant. It goes without saying. You might want to put it on top. Okay, so this is an example um of a template. But yeah, this is where I use my own template from. If you want, like I said, some of it is not, it gives you like a Google Doc that you can use and then you switch it around. But personally, I like this kind of template. Like even the fonts and everything, there's just a way. Look at it, see what I'm saying? Beautiful to the eyes. Like it's easy to read what the person is saying and so on. Now, don't go and copy this template. Oh, if you go and you're on your own, because like I said, this is a work template, but this just gives you a template to take, and then you can move things around depending on what you need. Another thing I was telling you guys is that it's not everybody that has to have a whole award section or a whole leadership section. Look at this one, for example. See how it is here: awards, leadership, simple, even skills. Look at this: technical skills, certification and training. Like there's a way to finance this thing. It's not everything that you're going to have to dump because they are not going to look at everything anyway. Okay. So I hope that answers the question for those who were asking about templates. All right. Last questions before I go. So Imabong, yes, I said, I had a summary because when I was applying for jobs earlier this year, I wanted them to be able to know why, like, I wanted the summary to explain myself. So, Chichi, you can also do that for your, oh, my hand. You can also do that for your own. You can have a short summary that explains why you're moving from litigation to whatever field you're moving in, just like I did. Like, I mean, I have 5 years of experience in litigation, and now I'm transitioning to XYZ to do ABC. My previous expertise is in 1, 2, 3, 4. So highlight the expertise that is most relevant to whatever you are moving to. Okay. How do you make your CV more interesting or catchy when you don't have enough experience? So you have only one internship and work experience. Fill it with volunteering. Fill it with fellowships. People always say, oh, I don't have any experience, but they never do anything to get experience. Do fellowships. All these Tide Lab, for example, if you're in tech, apply for Tide Lab. I applied for She Codes Africa. I don't know the other ones, but go use LinkedIn. Use LinkedIn and find all of these things. Chichi, I don't know if you're connected with me on LinkedIn, but I don't know. I'm feeling your vibe, so connect with me on LinkedIn. And some other things. So do fellowships, do volunteering, apply for all these learning opportunities, For example, Tide Lab, I think I don't know if they've changed it, but I think it's a 3-month program that will give you stuff to put on your CV. Look for those kind of opportunities that are relevant in your field. Another thing is that you can collaborate on a project with somebody. I hope you know that. So I always tell this story of my friend Kome. She was in my cohort in getting, and she and her accountability partner, they actually like did a whole project so that she could have something to write about in her SOP. I'm not joking with you. She would tell you herself. She was going for something in sustainability, and her background was in zoology and research. And so she went to go and do a whole project. She and her accountability partner, they set up a whole cleaning environment, kiniko in Makoko, did a whole, video evidence of it, wrote about it, and that's what she put in her SOP. So there's a way that you want this thing, that you will do what you're supposed to do. Let's say there's someone here who is not applying for grad school this year and they're applying next year. You have 1 whole year. You can literally work on a whole project. You can do something new for yourself. So I hope that helps. Must we include awards? Hell, blessing. I've said this 1 million times. There's no section that, except your experience section, your education section, that is particularly compulsory. If you don't want to put awards because you feel like I don't have any awards, take it out. But if you have awards, because let me tell you guys something, I've noticed something. The more you get into programs and the more you get scholarships and awards, the more other people want to give you scholarships and awards. Try it out and see. I've realized that because if somebody sees that this person is valuable, they will want to associate with that value and they will want to sponsor you. So why do you want to shoot yourself out by not putting awards? Even me as a human being, when I'm looking at somebody's LinkedIn, like I saw somebody's LinkedIn today and they were like, oh, one young world professional delegate. And let me know, like, I was jealous because I was like, what has this person done? I'm also interested in this one young world. Let me see it. So that's how life is. If you see, if people put certain things in their CV, it makes them feel like this is worth it, especially if it's something that's important in your field. So for example, which example can I give now? Like this one young world thing, or for example, you are in policy and whatever, and you were invited by the UN to speak. That is catchy. Those are some of the things that you want to think about as you're making your CV. The person who is reading your CV is a human being. Yes, for job applications, people use ATS, but eventually a human being will read your CV. What will be impressive is what you put. If you don't want to put that word, like me, as I said, I don't have a lot of awards. I know I'm an impressive human being and I know I do a lot of good work, but unfortunately in my field, they don't really give awards like that. And in my school, in my department, there's no award, there's nothing. So it doesn't mean that I've not done good work. So I focus on other things like putting in my experience. What's your take on professional? The same thing I said about awards is the same thing I'm saying about memberships. If you want to include it, include me. I'm not in any membership. I'm not in social work. And I'm not in the NASW because I know that that's not what I'm going to do with myself. Like that's not where I'm going with my future. So I'm not there. Even though I've been saying I'll join, but now that I'm almost graduating, I don't know what the point is again. You can include it. If you decide that you don't want to include it because it's not relevant, it's up to you. But like I said, there's no need putting 6 bullet points in your CV under one experience when you can make space to include something important like an award or something impressive like a certification. Oh yeah, last questions, 10 minutes and I'm out of here. You guys connect with me on LinkedIn, and when you connect with me, make sure you let me know where you're connecting with me from so that I will feel inclined to accept you. Because if I don't know where I know you from and I see your profile and your profile is not interesting, let me not lie to you. I will not connect with you. Last questions. Let me know, like, last questions. Anybody else? Bukola, your hand is still up. I've put my LinkedIn link. Team, I don't understand this. I saw for one, considering it there, how best we go? Hi, Faye. I saw for, I don't understand this, but let me read the rest. Considering a direct PhD program, how best would one demonstrate their professional experience or the degree on CV in order to make up for lack, excuse me, for limited or lack of academic publication? So, Tim, I believe I already answered this question. It's the same thing. If you don't have research publications, but let's say your work is research intensive, spend time building those bullet points of all of the things you've done in research. And if you still don't have that, go and look for it. It's really as simple as that. Go and look for it. I think so. Okay, how about we backtrack like this? Let's say this person that says entrepreneurial skills in CV, go and backtrack and look for what are entrepreneurial skills, and then look for all, sit down for each of your experience. What did you do, and which skill can you highlight? So I'll give you an example. Like Jimmy was saying, let's say I'm a teacher, or I'm not a teacher, but I want to go into teaching. So I'm going for a master's in teaching, but I haven't really taught in the classroom. But for example, I've been facilitating sessions for about 4 years now. But I've never taught in a classroom, right? I mean, I do workshops. So here at ISU, part of my graduate assistantships, I do workshops. It's in a classroom, but it's not a full teaching thing. My experience, my transferable skill or experience is facilitation. So instead of just saying, oh, I don't have any teaching experience, so I'm disqualified, how can I tell them that I have facilitated multiple sessions, more than I can count, online, offline. Those are the things that will put into my CV. And I hope that that makes sense. So backtrack. If you feel like I really don't know what the skills are, go and Google what are the skills needed to be successful in an MBA? What are the skills needed to be successful as a researcher? And go back to all of your experience and highlight which one do I have, which one don't I have. That's just it. How important is it to add LinkedIn? You don't need to add your LinkedIn. Like there's so many things that you don't need to add in your CV, honestly. But LinkedIn is a way to, for me, the reason I add my LinkedIn is because I'm doing a lot of stuff on my LinkedIn. But okay, so another thing I do personally, right, is I do a lot of things about international students living in the US. I'm actually about to collaborate on a project with someone, but that's not on my CV. But if somebody looks at my LinkedIn, they might see it and they might be like, oh, okay, she does something else outside of things like that. So your LinkedIn, in the past, when I used to look at people's LinkedIn, I would just like skim through it. It's not like I'm reading at everything, but if you have a solid LinkedIn that backs up the claims you have in your CV and SOP. Now, there are even some things that you have evidences of, like, so for example, me presenting at this webinar, for example. Let's say on my LinkedIn, I created a post about it and I put the flyer. I'm not going to go to my SOP and necessarily indicate that, oh, I did this, or go to my CV and indicate it. But if someone looks at my um LinkedIn, they can see it and they can be like, oh, okay, she really does what she says she does. So your LinkedIn is just an additional way to back up what you're saying. It's the same thing with the hyperlinks. You don't need to include a hyperlink. Somebody might not even look at it, but it's a way to like support your claim. Neka, you're welcome. Okay, I think that you guys have gotten all the information that I have to give concerning CV. This is what I will wrap up with, and I will say it as someone who has been on this back end, and someone who has also worked with multiple students. During my time at Getting, I worked with 1,000 plus students. Like, for if to be honest, I worked with more than 1,000 students, because if I count my own cohort that I was supporting, it will probably be more than that. But between 2021, 2022, 2023, we had 1,000 people do Getty's boot camp, and I was the community manager, for it for a long time, until Jimmy joined me. So here are some things I would say. And as I'm saying this, I'm saying it to myself as well. The first one is that you have to be the one to bet on yourself if you want something, because some of us are super lazy. And that's why I really tell people, see, do the rigor of this grad school process. Do it. Because guess what? When you still jackpot, you will still do this rigor. You see this thing that you're avoiding. Oh, this SOP is stressing me. I'm looking for who to write my SOP. This CV is stressing me. Now you sabi, when you come here, you will look for job. You will do 100 different CVs. I have a friend that she told me, "Feyi, every time I'm submitting a new job, I am doing a different CV, yet I'm not getting interview. Will you give up by that time when your goal is to jackpot?" I hope this is not being recorded. Uh-huh. Will you give up by that time when your goal is to jackpot? I suppose not. So you better spend the time now to start working on all these skills, because whether you like it or not, when you go forward, you will still need those skills. That's number one. Number two, spend time on your documents. See, sometimes you have to review document 6, 10 times for you to feel like this makes sense. And it's normal. Jimmy will tell you, like I said at the beginning of my conversation, I still go to her to say, Jimmy, my brain is blocked. Give me ideas. But when she gives me ideas, I'm like, okay, now I know what to do. I can run with it. And she does the same thing with me. Faye, help me look at this SOP because I'm not really sure if this is hitting. And I will do it for her. So no matter how long you've been in this game, now there's some applications I turn in that I can do myself. Like there was something I applied for recently that I got in. Like I wasn't even expecting to get in. I did the application myself, but that's because I have built those skills. But there are some times that you will need people to support you. My point is that do the work. If you know that you want to jackpot, don't be waiting for stories for people to come and beg you. Do your CV. If you do one CV and after 2 weeks you come back, you don't like it because you feel like it's missing some things, redo it. Like some of you, like there's somebody's CV I was reviewing. Like why are there all this? Like why are there all these things on your CV? So spend time on your CV. And the final thing I will say, is that this is doable. I like to tell people that I know it's a scary experience, it's a scary process. I have me, as with all this knowledge I have, I promise you, I have imposter syndrome every day. Every day. In fact, my imposter syndrome has led me into trouble, but we keep doing what we're doing. Imposter syndrome is part of all of this process. Sha, if you cannot encourage yourself, be like me. Like I said, that's the kind of relationship Jimmy and I have. Jimmy, Omo, I'm having imposter syndrome about this. Okay, Feyi, what about this? Sometimes you need to talk to somebody who will give you the ginger you need. Miriam, I'm having imposter syndrome about this. Please tell me that I can do it. Okay, you can do it. Let me go and do it. And some other times, nobody will give you ginger. You will sit down there and you say, will I rather lose this opportunity than try? And you try. So I like to give too much advice, but that is it. I hope that everybody learned something new that they can take away with them today. I hope that this was useful. But before I go, I'm curious to know in the chat box, let me know what are some things that you feel like you've learned in this session today that you're going to go and implement for your own CV. What are some things you've learned today? You can, if you would like to unmute, you can as well. I would love to hear some of your voices. Chichi, have you connected with me? I've not seen your connection. Oh. I know you don't want to. If you don't answer me, Otilo, after today,
No, I'm
I know
looking
why
for.
why I'm
I,
asking you.
so sorry, I don't have your LinkedIn handle. I was thinking after the class I would just
I put it
connect
on
with you.
the chat though.
Okay.
But
So
you
I
can
don't.
just go, you can just search my name, but it's fine.
Okay.
Okay. Question, comments. What are some things? Nobody has any. You have not learned anything. We're heard. Let me know in the chat box. What are some things you've learned today that you're going to go and implement? I don't review CVs. I don't do review for a living. I could, but I don't have the capacity. But don't worry, when I do, I will send my bill, my invoice. Can I display my CV again? Why, Treasure? What do you want to copy? Okay, Praise has learned that you
I
can copy.
always
Go ahead, Rebecca.
I always thought that making a CV was a complicated thing, but the way you explained it made it so simplified that I'm like, oh, okay, this is the mistake I've made. This is what I've done wrong, and this is what I'm supposed to correct. So it has given me an insight of what to do right. Because like all the time, I'll be like, oh, why are the people that these people pay to make their CV? Because I have my CV, but most times I'm like, I'm not impressed. But like now, I feel like I'm impressed.
That's great. That's great, Rebecca. Thank you for sharing that. And honestly, I would tell you that me too. That's part of why this is getting was so important to me because before I did getting as well, before I did the boot camp, there were so many things that in fact I never knew that if you didn't have in fact, I used to think that people that went to the US, you must have first class. I was like, yeah, because I graduated with a 2-1, even though it was a very high 2-1, like I was like 0.06 away from a first class. But still, I used to feel very I can't do that. I can't do that until I learned from getting that. Oh, wow, people can do it. And let me say something too. Sometimes you have to do small things, right? Get into some small programs, get into some fellowships, get into, random small things so that they can boost your ginger for you to go for the bigger things. Sometimes that's what you need. Like I said, there's a program I got into. You guys will see the announcement if you follow me on LinkedIn when the time comes that I was not expecting to get into it. In fact, I was like, wait till be this, God I beg. Like when I finished my application self, I say, hell, I don't do rubbish. But when I got into it and I saw the caliber of women that were in this program, I was like, okay, I'm obviously hot cake. Like there's something about me that is worth it. So sometimes we have to do that for ourselves. Okay, so Elizabeth said putting awards is not compulsory. So, like I said, Elizabeth, if you have a lot of awards, you want to show that. Let's say you got a very prestigious award, best graduating students, governor's award, and let's say you got presidential award. Why will you not put that in your CV? Like you're just shooting yourself in the leg by not putting it because those are awards that make a person feel like you are valuable, if you get what I'm saying. But I'm saying that let's imagine you don't have any award, don't sweat it. But if you have good awards that you feel like this will show that I am valuable, please put it. Don't say I did not, I said you should not put it. Put it. I'm just saying it's a game thing. Not everything will enter your CV and you have to decide what is valuable for you. Yes,
I
you have
also
to keep.
thought that we don't put sex and age. I used to wonder if it was necessary, but I think it's not necessary
Eh?
since
Why will you put sex and age? For what now? That's 1999. Dead,
oh
cancelled. Never put that in your CV. Never.
no.
Never. And don't put any picture in your CV unless you are using the European see, like you're applying for Erasmus, for example. Usually those kind of people ask for pictures, but US never put that. Never, never, never.
Mm. Thank you. I've connected with you on LinkedIn.
All right. I will consider
I'll
it.
because
I will
of you,
consider
I'm
whether I
going
will
to
accept
go
you.
please
I will
accept
vet your
me.
page. If I see that your LinkedIn is looking funny, I'm not going to accept you. I'm just teasing.
Okay.
I have also connected with you on LinkedIn, Chichi.
Okay
Chidoma,
now.
that's my name. Thank you.
Yeah, seriously. So when you highlight your awards and scholarships, other people are motivated to. I promise you, people want to be. Even with my LinkedIn, I started really building my LinkedIn in January of this year, and I'm telling you that the way people accept my connection now, I've seen the difference. This time last year, I'll connect with some people. They will not answer me now. Once people just look at my profile, who is this girl that is posting all these things? Who is okay, connect. So sometimes it's small things like that. Yes, writing a research experience is not compulsory, but your Elizabeth, writing research experience is not compulsory, but as a master's student, generally having research experience is good. So you can definitely highlight it as okay, one, two, but you don't need to create a whole, section for it. You can just highlight it in your bullet points. All right. I think you guys have learned a lot. Thank you so much. I'm going to give 10 minutes for any questions, any final questions, anything that is bothering you. Anything that is bothering you. Anybody? Is there anything that is bothering you that you're like, I would really love some insight into this that I can
I
help
think
with, except reviewing CV or SOP, please.
I have something that's bothering me.
Okay.
It's not CV or essay related.
Okay. Go ahead.
I did this whole application thing last year. I followed I guess I'm very sure Jimmy knows all this already, but every single thing that you said here is not new to me because I've been following you for a very, very long time. I've been following Getting for a very, very long
Are
time.
you following me? So you know me. Do I know you?
No,
I'm
you
just
don't
teasing.
know me. No, you don't know me. I just joined this second cohort right now. And anyone that's listening to me, you guys should join the boot camp. I've been following for a very long time, but joining the boot camp was what started to give me courage to overcome the issues that I faced in the past. So right now, my problem is that, okay, I know that if I'm having imposter syndrome about something, I should analyze it properly and see whether it is just my mind playing tricks on me, whether I actually need to gain more experience for that particular role. I know this. But now my issue is even after I get scholarship, even after I get it all funded, because I got it all funded last year and my hurdle was visa. Now I'm having trouble starting the whole process all over again. I am tied down with work and I'm tied down with the mindset of, so even if I get the scholarship, what's the guarantee that I will get the visa? So right now that's just my hurdle that I will need assistance coming out of.
Yeah. So with visa, unfortunately, I don't really have like a lot of details to give about visa because I'm not a VO. Me, my own. Now God, I beg, I use go embassy. I mean, some people, Jimmy, I sent you a WhatsApp message. Look at it. So people might argue that some people might say that, oh, being, how do I explain it? Some people might say that, oh, I did this and I did that is because I have travel experience. That's why people took me. People are always permutating, but let me not lie, all of us we're just going with God, I beg, to the embassy. So that's what I would say about visa. I don't really have enough details, unfortunately. I'm so sorry to be able to help you with your visa issues. However, the imposter syndrome that you're feeling is real. Your name is Diamond, right? The imposter, the feeling of just that defeat of why should I try this again is real. So vulnerable moments here, as I shared earlier, or I alluded to earlier, I'm applying for another degree. And the reasons, it's a long, complicated story that I'm not going to get into. But one of the reasons I'm doing it is because I'm switching fields. So I'm in the social work field. This is my third year of my master's degree in social work. And it's not my third year because I don't know book, because some Nigerians assume that it's because the program is rigorous. People hear social work and they think, what's there helping people? I promise you, people cry in my class because of this social work program. It's very rigorous. So because of, the requirements it has of you. And now I'm applying to grad school again. And this is me in my 2 years of working with Getting, or 3 years of working with Getting. I used to tell people, why are you selling yourself short? Apply for this now. I had people that I will be the one to message them. Apply for this program because you have the potential. They'll say, Faye, I'm scared. I'll say, do it. Oh, yeah, let's review your essay. Kiniko, kiniko, kiniko. Now it's my turn to do this process again. And the fear, I'm telling you, it's part, like, that's why I said I got into trouble. There's an application that's due next week that, because of fear, right, I pushed that. Like, I knew that I was going to apply you since I've been thinking about applying for months, and I kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it because what's the point? It's too competitive. I won't get it. This is me with all that I know about applying to grad school. With all people tell me all the time, you're a good writer, you should be a writer, you are good at this. Still, the fear is real. So I think it's normal to be afraid because for us to do things it's difficult. But there are only a few things that you can control. You cannot control the result or the outcome, but there are certain things that you can control. Number one is actually doing it. You actually need to do it. So that's number one. Number two is finding the skills, the resources, the tools that you need to do it. Just like you attending this CV class. Maybe the fact that you have gotten something new from this CV class can give you more details to like do what you need to do and so on. I don't know. And so number three is that I was trying to share something, but I've forgotten what I was sharing. But I'm going to talk about something. Number three is actually finding people who believe in you, people who are willing to walk with you on this journey. As I said, with me, for example, I have people. I have Jimmy, I have Miriam, I have other people in my circle that sometimes will say, Faye, how far have you applied to this? I was even talking to my professor. So this week I spoke to 3 of my professors. And every time I spoke to each of them, they'll be like, I'm so proud of you for doing this. And I even thought that they'll be like, why are you leaving the field? But by the time I spoke to each of them, they gave me so much energy that made me feel like, okay, for the sake of them, I'm going to try. So sometimes imposter syndrome is what it is, and fatigue, like I was sharing with you guys, there's going to be real fatigue about this whole process, and it's expected and it's normal. So there's no way you're not going to be fatigued. It's part of this process. And that's why I'm telling you, getting your application now, because if you wait till December, especially festive season, that's even the worst, because during the festive season, your preferences are not going to be responding. Nobody wants to review essay. People are traveling. The fatigue will be real. So Diamond, honestly, I don't know if anything I've said here has helped, but you are not alone. I think that's the first thing I want to say. I see you, I feel you, I relate with you. I'm experiencing the same thing, but sometimes you have to do what you have to do, and when you don't have strength, rely on the people in your community who believe in you, like someone like Miriam. Now sometimes I feel like Miriam is giving me bubble when she tells me that, oh, I actually believe in you, but there's sometimes that she will do certain things with me that I know that, okay, this person believes in my ability. So look for people who believe in you, that you can work with, that you can say, this is the challenge I'm having, and they can encourage you. And honestly, you go again. And like I said, and I always used to say this when I was working at Getting, and I'll say it to you again. You see this process, this grad school, this particular process of applying to grad school, you are basically just, you're just scratching the surface. Are you getting me? You are scratching the surface. Even the visa, you are still scratching the surface. Come first, you will see. When you're applying for jobs, internships, people are refusing you just because you're an international student. Will you give up? I'm guessing the answer is no. When you're applying for jobs and everybody's asking you, do you need sponsorship? And immediately you say yes, they say, sorry, we're sorry to inform you. Will you give up? Look at me now. There was a grant money I applied for. Why did they not give me international student? Meanwhile, they said the grant is EDI for equity, diversity, and inclusion. So disqualify me because I'm an international student. How does that work? Will you give up? I still applied for another scholarship last week. So my point is, it's a cycle, it's a process. So if you want to give up, nothing where I fit talk, but now give up, mess up. So tell yourself, I will not give up. Read people's stories, be encouraged, find the people in your life that will support you, ginger yourself, buy yourself gifts, you know, pass more than that. But I will not lie to you. Even me, with all the experience I have, trust me, I still have imposter syndrome. Even sometimes when I get certain things, I'm still like, hey, me care, from where to where, but it is what it is. So yeah, Sandra, what did you want to say?
Yes, good afternoon.
Hello.
I wanted to ask a question, not for master's or PhD.
Okay.
Just as I did a different program, I did veterinary medicine in school, and I want to study accelerated nursing now. I don't know how to go about it.
Okay. I don't know what the details for accelerated nursing are, but here's what I would suggest. You can look for people on what's it called? On LinkedIn, use LinkedIn and see if there's anybody who is doing that program or who has graduated from a similar program. Connect with them, ask if you can do Zoom with them. Alternatively, identify the programs that you're interested in that do not ask for a lot of that do not ask you to have a BSN, for example, or that basically say that you meet the requirements. You can email the program coordinator, ask for more information. You can also ask if you can talk to them via Zoom, set up a meeting, ask questions. You can attend their open day, ask questions, and that helps. I don't really know how the BSN, accelerated nursing, I don't know how those things work. I know there are people who do it. I really don't have information, but I will say the more you ask questions, the more you can find out what you need. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you everyone for joining me today. I am very, very thankful for joining me, that you guys can join me with this. I had a good time talking to you about this. I'm so passionate about things like this, which is why even though I said I will go 30 minutes ago, I'm still here. And that's just because I want to be able to support all of you. Unfortunately, I honestly cannot review documents. So before you ask me, the answer is no. And I know some coconut heads will still message me. I know. But maybe one day, those of you guys who joined the boot camp, I will come and do SOP review one day. We shall see. Tell Jimmy if you guys want that and we can plan something and I can do an SOP review for you. Also watch all the videos. We have so many videos on getting on YouTube that you can watch to give you more insight. All right. Cho. I don't to talk. Make I dey go. Thank you. Connect with me on LinkedIn. No, and when you see my post, better engage because some of you will not look at it. If not, don't beg me for SOP review. I know what I'm saying. People will still message me. Me self, I'm fighting for my life. Unless if I review for you, will you review for me? But the thing is, I don't trust some of you, your review. So you cannot review for me. All right. Thanks, my friends. Take care of yourself. At this point, I'm gonna dip out. As my American people say. Okay, bye. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Inye. It's not easy to be a fine girl. Beauty with brains. Go easy. Thanks. All right. Bye, everybody. Jimmy, see you. Over to you. Bye.
I think we should close out here. We've spent quite almost 3 hours. So thank you so much for joining us today. I want to believe we all learned something. So have a wonderful weekend. Bye.